Father, the sleeper has awakened!
What's up, YouTube? It's Artisan MC. So, I just got finished watching the Senate hearings with the CEOs of Google, Facebook, and Twitter. Zuckerberg, Paras, I think his name is. I forget the name, so I'm fucking it up. So we'll cut that part. But with these CEOs, and it was interesting. It was an interesting turn of 3 hours to spend listening to the CEOs that run platforms that, at least two of them I may use. One I use pretty regularly, which is Google. Facebook, not so much. Twitter, not at all. Okay, but understanding what these guys have been doing during this whole political campaign and whatnot, and having them called on the carpet in a sense to account for some biases they may have been showing was, I think, a good step. Now, the thing that was surprising about all of this is that the position that Republicans and Democrats took on. And I can tell you that there was like little daylight between the Democrats on this issue. They believed it was a waste of time, that it was too opportunistic to stage this right before, 1 week before the election of the new president. They would love to get back at it after the election when the new regime is in. And they're really sure about Russian and Iranian, and they left out Chinese involvement in trying to manipulate the election this time around for 2020, like they kept saying, like they did in 2016. And for me, that's for the balance. The little room for daylight on the Republican side was that these companies have shown bias by removing tweets from the president of the country that they reside in. That showed a lot of bias and not living up to the ideas of not being involved and being fair and everybody having a voice. And they pointed to issues that these companies did not delete posts or groups and stuff like that of known terrorists, known regimes that were hostile to America, putting out all kind of, ridiculous statements and whatnot, but they went to censoring, which is basically what they did, the free speech of the president of the country that is, champions free speech. Now, I'll say this on this topic for me. Any president in this country deserves the right, has earned the right, to sit to take the highest office of this land and say whatever the fuck he feels like. Whatever. You don't have to like it. You don't have to dislike it. But he does have the right to say it. He's the president of what they say the free world. Because you don't like him as a person does not mean you get to censor the president. That is just utterly disrespectful. Utterly. And I'm not saying that because it's Trump. I don't give a damn about Trump. You guys know this. I really give a fuck less about the orange and cheese. I don't care. But for me, it's the office. It's the office. And that is showing no respect for the office. That's showing a blatant level of disrespect for the person who sits in that office. And that's not it. Now, in this system, I've been through a lot of these elections. Okay? I've been through a lot, especially these contentions. It's always the same refrain. It's always the same BS. It's always the same story about why you shouldn't like this person and why you shouldn't like this. It's always the same. These people have not changed their script yet, and I'm bored. Okay? I'm bored with it. But at the same time, whereas you have the right to have political discourse in this country, where you can disagree with the president all day long, and if they ascend to that office, will allow that and understand that that's part of our democracy. I get to say this is what I think it is, and you get to say I think you're a dumbass. You can say that all day, but you do not have the right to take what he says away. You don't. To me, that's illegal. It's blatantly illegal. So, for me, that's the main issue of all of this. I mean, it was a 3-hour and 4-minute hearing where one senator after another either got up there and kissed those 3 guys' ass and said thank you for doing it and talked to them by their first name like they good buddies and everything else, and warned against make me a solemn vow or a promise that you will not let this President Trump bully you into saying anything on your platforms that you don't want to say. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that. That sounds so ridiculous. It sounds so ridiculous. It's like a promissory tax. Because the same thing that they're accusing that the Republicans are doing of trying to bully and sway this election, is exactly what they're sitting there on camera trying to get these 3 guys to promise to do. To silence the president of the country. And I don't know why anybody was mystified by that. It's like, that's what's happening. Blatantly. In English. They said that. Now, because the world has turned, in a sense, and social media is such a big thing, and people get a lot of information from social media, just like I'm doing right now, yes, there should be some checks and balances in there. Should be some checks and balances in there. Do I think all speech should be heard? Me personally, I may say no. But I'm not running a platform for everybody to have their voice heard, am I? I'm not. And if that's the platform of the business that you want to be in, then that also means that opinions and views and ideas that you don't like and do not agree with get to be on there as well. You do not get the right to all of a sudden arbitrarily start saying, well, it kind of violated this policy, but I'm going to let these other 15 people say their BS. No. This country is leaning so far towards some kind of totalitarianism that it's ridiculous. And that might not even be the right political term for what I'm sensing, but for me, freedom of speech is the main thing we need to hold on to. I don't have to like what you say. I don't. Chances are I probably won't. But you have the right to say it all day. You can say it loud too. And I have the right not to listen. I don't have the right to shut you up, but I do have the right not to listen. What the guy, Jack, I'm forgetting his last name, did for Twitter, he silenced the president. He didn't want to hear it. And I watched this dude, or listened to him, sit up there and dance around the question the whole freaking time about, we'll get back to you on whatever. He knows what he did. Just cop to it. Come on, dude. If that was Obama, he wouldn't have did that. If they sitting up there, the senators are sitting up there with numbers of how many tweets of the president he blocked or his company blocked. And all these other instances of some really inflammatory stuff put out on Twitter, never blocked. What can you say to that besides, yeah, I just don't like it? I mean, what's wrong with saying that? Does it leave your company liable? Yeah, it exposes your bias, but you fucking biased. That's what it is. I don't what's the problem? Do you think you would have less Twitter followers if everybody knew you was just straight up and down liberal and all the liberals supported Twitter and all the conservative people who didn't, who weren't like that, didn't? You worried about losing that money? Are you really? Then you need to play down the middle. That's what it is. Don't jerk off one and then just smile at the other. Oh yeah, you're good. No. Be honest with what you're doing. Devote your full attention to one thing or the damn other. Because if you can't be unbiased or down the middle and let everybody get their voice, then you need to pick a damn side. Pick a struggle. It's fine. I'm from liberal California. I don't care what your personal ideology is. Just as long as you can stand up, put your hand up and say this is what it is. Fine. As long as I know where you stand, I know where you're at. That's it. So this whole thing was bullshit. The other thing, the main point that I wanted to say after watching all of this stuff is that for me, this is going to be the biggest case of election tampering ever. Probably on both sides. Not just the Democrats, the Republicans are trying to tamper the election. No, the Democrats are tampering with the fucking election the whole fucking time. This whole thing about Hunter Biden and that not coming out, that's tampering with the damn election. Because that's an October surprise. It should knock him out of contention altogether, and they're suppressing it and trying to put the cover story out there that, oh, it was some Russian stuff. When the head of this whole clandestine, I don't even think it was the CIA or whatever, came out right after the Democrat representative came out and said, no, there was no Russian collusion on this laptop. That is legit. But the Dems are still running around trying to throw that false information out there. It's like, oh, no, it was a Russian thing. It was a Russian thing. They're just trying to tamper with the election. No, that's not what it is. We know this will lose him the election. And he should lose the election. He is a terrible candidate. Just like his running mate. And the sooner people stop trying to gloss that shit up with look they dance, look they sing, look they like my favorite tunes and stuff, the more you will understand that that's all they are. Two bad candidates. Is Trump a better candidate? No. He's not a politician, so that goes without saying. He's probably not a good candidate. But that's the one you got. Like it or not. So, for me, watching this thing and seeing how they're playing it, I see how this thing is going. It might be a Biden win. And if it's not a Biden win, everybody in the media, everywhere else, is going to be up in arms. And they're going to be picking over those votes in the mail-in ballots and all the rest of this. And it's going to be Russia, China. It's going to be another goddamn year of this bullshit with these people who can't take a loss. They're going to be throwing tantrums forever. And if Biden wins, you're going to get the biggest landslide of liberal dick getting shoved down your throat that you've ever seen. So I hope everybody is ready for the money shot. Because it's coming. So that might have been a very gross way to end it, but I'm so sick of these people with this bullshit, with this political shit. I'm just sick of it. And to me, I see which way they're pushing this stuff. Which way they're pushing it. If they're going to repress information that shines disfavorably on their favorite candidates, then they are the fix is already in. They just want to make sure it goes through without no hiccups. So that's my thoughts on that. Like, share, subscribe. This has been me in that multi-dimensional space, and I'll see you guys next time.